Good afternoon. Thank you so much for sticking around, and I'm going to keep it short and simple. I teach design at Virginia Tech. It's one of the largest public universities in US, and my area of focus is using design thinking for empowerment of women, especially in poor countries. Uh, we are living in a world where 4 billion survive on less than $2 a day, and I decided that that would be a worthwhile focus for the rest of my life instead of designing motorcycles for Yamaha, which I used to do before that. Uh, the, the problem we identified was last summer I came here with few of my students and we went to a couple of SHG meetings in Dausa district, and it's a really fascinating process, but one area that we identified was because the SHG members are mostly illiterate, they have to pay about 20% of their first year savings to the official bookkeeper, and that has been identified as one of the primary cause of failure of SHGs in the first year itself. So our challenge was to design a visual accounting / financial literacy system that is not underlining their inability to read and write, but actually saluting their ingenuity and smartness. Just because somebody cannot read or write does not mean they are not smart. They are actually smarter than most of us. This is a few slides about the process. We came back last winter. We went to the villages, we went to Barefoot College, we went to the night schools, and really spent some quality time with them. Instead of going in with a preconceived notion, we became one of them, sat quietly in a corner and observed the process of how the whole thing works. Not just from their point of view, but from the point of view of the group accountant who has to maintain all those records, because if you don't have the records, your group does not move on to the next stage, which is linking it with the bank. Another shot of a SHG meeting in progress. From that, we went back to Blacksburg. That's where Virginia Tech is, and we went into a very deep iteration process. We looked at different options for visually keeping track of your savings, your interest, your penalties, and your attendance for every meeting. Did that, made some prototypes, and came back, did some more testing. And at that point, we realized, actually we didn't realize, we were told point blank that you guys have no idea what you're doing. We don't really need any visual accounting system. What we need here is a financial literacy system. And we got that idea from two different points of views. There were few groups that were 1 or 2 years old, and they were all about using our system that, yeah, if we can reduce the cost of the group accountant, we'll use this. We went to another group, which was, so these were the figures of the 2-year-old group. In the second year, their net benefit from their operations is about 30%. If they keep doing that, in the 7th year, their net benefit from just, combining their savings and pushing them out as loans within the group goes up to about 65%. It was this group that basically told us that you have no idea. We don't need any help in accounting. We already have a group accountant who is a professional. What we need is understanding about, it's not really about saving your money, but that's just the first part. You also need to push it out as loans and generate income through interest from that. We went back to the drawing board and then created this visual system. So it's a small process diagram. The first meeting, the facilitator initiates a dialogue about what are the long-term goals, what are the short-term and individual level goals of the whole of the SHG. Then he creates these visual cards that signify somebody wants to buy a new gas stove, another group wants to buy a handloom. So all these things will be provided in the kit that we are working with Pradhan to design at this point. Next step is simulating the meeting. So in the first week of the training period of the SHG group, it's not the facilitator dictating what they should do and how they should do it. They simulate meetings with regard to simulating every single operation. They collect their savings, they assign a leader, they find somebody who is really in need of a loan amount that can be satisfied by the savings in that meeting, and as a group they decide that, okay, you can get that loan for 2 months or 3 months. What that happens is, what that does in the process, so I skipped on one part. They also get ID cards made which have their pictures, so you know visually, that's my card, I'm getting a loan. You pick up the card, you combine the imitation notes that signify your loan, and that goes into a pocket in the system which signifies the repayment date. So that way, when that meeting comes on to that number 2 right here, and they are combining their savings, the group already knows that this person who got loan in the first meeting to buy a goat or a cow, she is supposed to pay it back. That repayment is combined to the essential savings, and the same process is followed on and on till, so if they do one cycle, that signifies 1 year. At the end of that, they have another discussion that tells them, okay, this was the savings, this was the expenditure, this is how much you guys earned, let's do it again.
You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. And the same process is repeated till not only they are getting a training in how to run the SHG, but they are also understanding the nitty-gritties in a very engaging and interactive manner, which does not need them to read or write anything. We are also working with ILNFS to redesign the second generation of KAN, which is a community learning device. The form is inspired by a book which just signifies knowledge, and it opens up to expose a tablet on one side and a projector on another side. We are using a tablet because it encourages interactivity. If it's a small enough group, you don't need to use the projector. You can have a discussion around the tablet itself. Some of the other projects we are working on is redesign of a vegetable pushcart, a thela, with a powerless refrigeration box. There is a new invention. It came out last year. It's a small box. You heat it for 1 hour on a fire or a gas stove. You let it cool down for 45 minutes. That little device will keep below freezing temperatures for 24 hours in a box about this big. It does not require any power. It does not require any electricity. Another project that we are working on is using cell phones to empower healthcare worker in the areas of vaccination. So if a kid had a taviz which had a RFID tag or a QR code that's scanned by the healthcare worker, you scan that and it pulls up the vaccination data. It's providing the information needed by the healthcare worker in a very efficient manner, giving him more time to spend on education and awareness about vaccination programs. That's my presentation. I teach design, and that's our website, idforlearning.com. Thank you so much for your time.